Okay, so today, so I will keep the continue on the second point of the mind training. As I talked last time at that the second point, so now you can see in the text of the 7th point of the mind training that it said that rest in the alaya, the essence between sessions, to be conjure of illusion, that you can see in the text. It said that the rest in the alaya. So resting in the alaya means alaya, it's the 8 consciousness. So resting in the alaya means you have to rest in the state of the alaya. Alaya, it's the synonyms of the 8 consciousness. And between the session, be the conjure of the illusion, as you can see that in the text. Now here we have to know that what is the actual meaning of it saying that the rest in the alaya. Actually, the rest in the alaya means that we have to drop ego. We have to drop the ego. So dropping the ego, it's not that easy and simple. One side, I will say that the dropping the ego is very easy and simple. It's have the 2 sides, how you look at it. Dropping the ego might be the easy or might not be easy. So because there is a saying that I rather be first in the hell than being a second in heaven. So even if you look at this point, still you can see very clearly how the ego functions. It says that being a first in the hell is better than being a second in the heaven. Also, if you look at Milton's the book of the Loss of the Paradise, he said the one thing that being a reign in the hell is better than the serving in the heaven. So this all shows that how the humans, the ego function. So hell don't looks that bad if you're first in the hell. Even the heaven looks dull when you are standing behind of the someone and you are not a first. So that shows very clearly that how the ego functions. So that's how the ego function, and so that makes us to drop. It's very difficult to drop the ego. One thing that we are not knowing, that the ego, when you look at the child, it looks so beautiful because there is no ego in there. When we get old, then we start to look more ego. Not because of the old age, because of the too much ego. So when you drop the ego, new child will born inside of you. So I really like of the one saying of the Barnett Shaw. Barnett Shaw have said the one thing: life is not about the finding yourself. Life is creating yourself. So it's one point. It's very true that life is about the create the egoless yourself. When you can create the egoless self, then you will have a very meaningful life. So that's why here it's saying that the rest in the alaya in the essence, so you have to drop the ego. Once you cannot drop the ego, then you will have a lot of the expectations that comes in your mind. We expect a lot. Even you love someone, when you are saying that you love, but you will expect back something, because that expect comes because of your ego. So that's the expectation will ruin the whole of your life. So that's why when you look at the Alexander the Great, he have conquered the very great kingdom, but still inside he is very empty, because he was expecting the bigger and the bigger kingdom. When he was expecting the bigger kingdom, he becomes a more beggar from inside. So that's why, so expectations comes because of your ego. So that's why in the mind training practice, it says that they don't expect. It is sometimes a bit difficult to not to expecting, because once we cannot drop the ego. Once we succeed to drop the ego, it's very easy to not to expect anything to back. And the one other side, we are not knowing that the ego is very baseless. You can generate the ego in any reasons. Ego don't need any perfect or right reasons. You can generate. We are generating the ego based on the very false reasons, very wrong reasons. Let me tell you the one story, how the ego works. There are 3 prisoners in the very remote Siberian in the prison. They are the 3 prisoners. 3 prisoners. They are discussing about who are the most senior prisoner in the prison. So one prisoner told that I came here 5 years back in this prison. Then the second prisoner told that when I came in this prison, there is no road out of the prison. Even when I came here, and there is no road, even the bull carts, it's not passed on that road right now, what we see outside of the window of the prison. When I came here, there is no road, and also the bull cart never passed through this road. So he wanted to prove he's a more senior. Then the third prisoner said the one thing, said that, what is road? What is bull cart? I never saw the road. I never seen in my life the bull cart. He was trying to prove that he is the most senior. He came here the first than every prisoners in this prison. So that is how the ego works. He builds up the ego based on being the most senior prisoner. That is how we do in our life. We build up the ego in the base on the many false reasons. So that's why always Buddha was trying to say that ego is a false conception. Because ego is a false conception, because it based on all the wrong reasons. So that's why the ego is a false conception. So that's why we have to drop the ego. The moments when you can drop the ego, that moment we call the enlightenment. So there are the two schools exist. One school say the enlightenment can happen in the sudden. Another school say the enlightenment cannot happen in the sudden. But I will say the both is right. Enlightenment can happen in the sudden, or enlightenment cannot happen in the sudden. It's a gradual process. I will say both is right. Both schools are right. Enlightenment can happen in the sudden, or enlightenment is a gradual process. But both schools agree on the one point that the understanding takes the time. Understanding takes the time. So when you can drop the ego, moment that you get enlightened. There is one very interesting story at the Buddha's time when the Mahakashyapa, when he met the Buddha the first time. So Mahakashyapa, he was carrying the very strong ego. Because he is having the very strong ego, and the legendary story say that wherever he bows, he is set down. Wherever the bows, because of he is having a very strong merit. So whomever he bowed down, whoever he paid the respect, that person used to get hurt. Because of he's having the very strong, the merits. So when he met the Buddha, when he thought that if I bow to the Buddha, if I pay the respect to the Buddha, Buddha might physically get hurt. So Buddha realized that he's thinking, and he read his mind and told that nothing will happen to me. Then he bowed to the Buddha, he prostrated to the Buddha, and then nothing happened to the Buddha. Then he said the one thing, Tathagat is a synonym of Buddha. Tathagat is my master. I'm the student of the Tathagat. Then he fully prostrated on the ground. The story usually say, the interesting story is at this point that the story says that, shows that and teaches that the dropping the ego. The moments when he dropped the ego, he fully prostrated to the Buddha. So that's why when we look at the Buddha's the prostration, so that actually the prostration, that is the one of the antidote to apply to our ego. So that's why the Mahakashyapa, when he was prostrating to the Buddha, he fully dropped his ego. And he said that Tathagat is my master. I'm the student Tathagat. Tathagat means the synonyms of the Buddha, okay? So if you look at the times of the Buddha, a lot of the students got a certain enlightenment. It happened in the certain. So certain enlightenment happened in certain. When you can drop the ego, then you will get enlightened. So that's why, as I mentioned before, I really like the saying of the Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga, that when you open the eye, we dreams. When we close the eye, we will get awake. So that's why we cannot drop the ego, because mainly we are having the lots of the dreams. More we start with the dreams, more we dreams, then more we'll expect. More we'll expect. It makes it more difficult to drop the ego. So that's why even when you say, even in the day-to-day life, when you're saying that you are the love someone very genuinely, very purely, but the one side of the mind, you might expect something bad. So even if you come to the practice the Dharma, sometimes you will expect bad. So that's why what here in the mind training practicing, what you are doing, do it rightly. Do it rightly, don't expect something bad. So once you're expecting the bad, whatever the practice you are doing, it's not comes the right practice. When you're expecting the bad something, then you start to dream. When you dream, you cannot get awake. Once you cannot awake, then you cannot get enlightenment. So that's why understanding it takes the time. So that's why the enlightenment is also the gradual process. If you look from this point, the enlightenment is also the gradual process, because it takes time to understand the things. So that's why. So, okay, so now the second point, it says that in the between the session, be the conjure of the illusion. So he talks about everything what we sees in the bit sees is just we have to see the things like an illusion, see the things like a dreamlike. So you will feel that I can feel or how I can see the things as an illusion. It's a very real. Yeah, it's a very real. It's a very real, and it's not like illusion up till we realize the emptiness. Once the moments that when you realize the emptiness, all things are like an illusion. When you are dreaming, in the state of the dream, when you didn't realize that you are dreaming, when you didn't realize that you are dreaming, you will think everything's very real. The moments when you wake up from dream, then you will realize that what you dream and what you had the dream is totally false. Exactly, that's the same thing into our day-to-day life. Once you realize the emptiness, everything what you see, everything what you feel like a one illusion, like a one dream. Once you have not realized the emptiness, everything what you feel, what you see, it's a very real. So that's why that's why, as you can see in the root text of the 7th point of the mind training, it said that between the session, be the conjure of the illusion. It means that to see the things as an illusion, see the things as a dreamlike. Because when you're watching the movie, when you're watching the movie and when you see the movie, take as a movie as real, then you might feel sad, then you might feel angry, then lots of the emotions will come in your mind. When you watch the movie and when you see the movie as a total fiction and so false, so then there is no place. There is no place for the emotion at all. There's no reason to feel the sad. There's no reason to feel the anger because what you're saying totally false. They are just a fiction. So that might be the reason. So that's why the reason that I don't enjoy the movie. I enjoy only the true stories and the documentaries. That's why I don't enjoy the fiction movies. Because whenever I watch it, first the moment the thought will comes in my mind that these all are false. They are the fiction. They are just acting. In the reality, it is not. Something is happening. So that's why, so here it talks about the saying that everything is a dream alike. But I will add the one more thing. If you having if you're facing the very adversity, or if you're facing adversity, or if you're having a very something's happening, the very dislike, the conditions are happening with you, just see as a dream alike, just see as an illusion. That really helps you. When you are having a very good time, don't see as a dream alike. Enjoy that moment. Enjoy. When you are having the very good time, you are having very favorable things are happening in your life. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy the moment. When you are having very unfavorable things happening in your life, when the adversity, you're facing the adversity, think as a dreamlike, think, visualize as illusion. Okay? When you're having the nice time, enjoy. When you're having favorable things happening, very enjoy it. Don't think too much how it comes and whether it's a dreamlike. You don't have to think that. Okay? Enjoy the moment. Okay? Okay. Thank you. So today we'll stop here. Okay? Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.